Hi, I'm Keith Story from Touro University in Vallejo, California, and this is a brief presentation on how to read a research article from a professional journal. So when I started my career, I read a lot of research articles, but it wasn't really until I started writing some articles myself that I came to realize that, oh, the research articles are all in the basic format. And once you understand that basic format, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to read the article. So what I want to do is just walk you through the components of a research article and explain what they are, and then hopefully it'll make it easier for you to successfully read research articles. Now, I'm just going to stick to research articles because they follow a basic format, while discussion articles may be in a wide variety of formats, and there's really not one way to do it. So let's get right into it here. So here's a research article, and it can look a little overwhelming to pick up a journal or look at it online. And here's this article, and it's like, hey, well, how do I make sense of all of this? So once you start breaking it down, it's much easier to understand. So here's the title of the article: Bully Prevention and Positive Behavior Support. And I just kind of randomly picked this article from work by Rob Horner because I think Rob does the best research in the field of special education, applied behavior analysis, positive behavior supports. And he's also a great writer. So just like there's great novelists and not so great novelists, there are great professional writers for research, and then there's not so great professional writers. So Rob, I think, is the best as a researcher and also as a writer. So there's the title, and you can look at the title and say, oh yeah, this looks like an article I might want to read, or maybe I don't want to read it. Okay, there's the authors and their affiliations. So Scott Ross, Utah State University, and Rob Horner, University of Oregon. And there's the title of the journal, Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis. The year the article was published, 2009. The volume number, 42. Page numbers, 747 to 759. And the issue number, number 4. And that can just be helpful to kind of look at that information so you understand. And then down at the bottom, you see there's descriptors. So bullying, positive behavior support, prevention, secondary. And you can just look at these descriptors and say, hey, do these make any sense to me at all? And if they do, is it something I want to read? So it's just, again, can kind of get you started on, you want to read this article or you don't want to read the article. Then there's the abstract. And what the abstract does is supposed to tell you in 200 to 300 words what the article's about and what the results are. So before you jump into reading the whole article, I recommend that you read the abstract, and then you can say, hey, this looks really interesting, or I don't want to waste my time reading this article. Okay, and then either on the first page or at the end of the article, or on the second page, depending upon the journal, there will be information about how you can contact the authors. And you can always send them an email saying, hey, I really appreciate this article. Do you have anything else on this subject? So people will be flattered that you're interested in the research. They might send you some things that haven't been published yet or they're working on, and so on. So don't hesitate to contact people. And then here's the introduction to the article. And generally the first or second sentences will tell you what the problem is that the research is working on. So here, the issue of bullying has become a chronic and costly problem in American schools. It is perhaps the most common form of school violence. So it just lays out what the problem is, and then the rest of the introduction will walk you through the research that's been done on the issue, maybe some information about the prevalence of the issue or problem, and so on. And then the last paragraph of the introduction will tell you what the research question is or what the research is about. So here, the primary research question we examined in the present study was whether or not there is a functional relation between the implementation of positive behavior supports and reduction of physical and verbal aggression on the playground during lunch recess performed by typical elementary grade students. Okay, and then there's two secondary questions too. So it just read that, and it just gives you a clue as to what the research question is and what the research is going to be based upon. And then you get into the methods section. So the methods section is kind of telling you what they did and how they measured it and who they worked with. So here you have participants and settings. So it's 3 elementary schools in an Oregon school district. And you can look at that and say, oh, this is kind of the people I work with. It looks interesting, or maybe it doesn't look interesting, and so on. Just, you can see participants in the study are. And then there'll be a section on measurement. It may be called assessment or something else, but basically what it is how they're measuring what they did. And I could find this very interesting to read. Because there's constructs like positive, positive performance in schools, academic performance, social performance, and so on. Those are constructs, and then you get down to what are the specific measures of the success or non-success of the intervention. So if you're a teacher or a BCBA, or you're doing some sort of support for people, interventions, then this can clue you in on how to possibly measure what you're doing to see if it's successful or not. Okay, and then sometimes you'll see operational definitions of behavior, and this can be really helpful if you're collecting data yourself or you want to. So here they have their definition of problem behavior, and this is really helpful to read through those and see how they're measuring things. Then they have bystander responses to problem behavior. So again, it's a description of what they're measuring. And then inter-observer agreement is often in research studies, especially in applied behavior analysis and special education. So it just kind of clues you in that they're really serious about what they're doing, and they're very careful about how they're implementing research, measurement, and implementation. And then the design and procedure. So sometimes it's separate, sometimes it's in one section like it is here. So there's a research design. It can be a single case design, it can be a group design, whatever. And they'll describe what type of design they used. And then the procedure is the intervention. So what did they actually do to implement the strategy that they want to see if it's effective or not. And then you get into the results section. And basically what you see in the results section is a written description of the results. So here the frequency of incidents of bullying during 10-minute observations of the lunch recess for each target student and their composite peers is presented in figure 1. So it's just telling you what the results were. And then you'll often see a graph or a table of the results. So personally, I find graphs much easier to understand than tables full of statistics and numbers. So you want to read through the results carefully, because researchers will try to put as positive a spin as possible on the results. And you just want to, be careful and look at it a little skeptically and see if you think the results are. And then there's the discussion section. And in the discussion section, they'll recap what the results were and explain why the results are important. And then there'll be a discussion of limitations, and every research study has limitations. It's impossible to run a perfect study. And then generally at the end, there'll be either a discussion of the practical implications of what they did and or need for further research in this area. So if you're like a graduate student looking to do your thesis, or a doctoral student looking for your dissertation topic, this can really clue you in on, oh, here's some areas that need exploring, and then here's research that's already been done, which leads to the reference section. So any article, book, video, website that's referenced in the article or discussed in the article itself will be in the reference section. So if you're interested in this topic, then here's some more things for you to read. So Saturday night, what could be more exciting than reading a professional journal article full of statistics and jargon? So anyway, that's a brief overview on how to read research articles. So I hope it was helpful. So we'll have fun reading the articles, and I hope it helps helps you in your career. Thanks.